Haggis. Yeah, but just smell that.
America may be the land of the free, but it's also a country of rules. And there are actually a number of rules when it comes to food. Here are 15 foods you are not allowed to eat in the U.S.
You guys enjoying that cheese? It's unpasteurized.
Haggis.
Perhaps you'll change your mind when you try their signature haggis enchiladas.
Wikipedia might describe haggis as a savory pudding, but it certainly doesn't sound very savory to many people outside of the United Kingdom.
Can anyone guess the secret ingredient?
Haggis is a traditional Scottish sheep meal that involves cooking the heart, liver, and lungs, minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, spices, and salt, mixed with stock, and then all that is cooked encased in sheep stomach. And while a visit to Scotland might not be complete without trying the dish, while within the United States borders, haggis isn't something you can try even if you wanted to. Since 1971, the dish has been banned in the country. Well, technically the dish itself wasn't banned. Foods containing sheep lungs were banned due to the fact that fluids such as stomach acid and phlegm could enter the lung during slaughter. And unfortunately for haggis, sheep lungs make up a good 10 to 15% of the dish. Beluga Caviar.
You're taking all the caviar? That caviar is a garnish.
Does it get any fancier than caviar? And when it comes to caviar, the fish roe from the beluga sturgeon who swim in the Caspian Sea has always been considered top-of-the-line luxury stuff.
It's beluga.
And back in 2004, you could go to a fancy restaurant in the United States or an upscale market and get your hands and mouth on some, and do so without breaking the law. But all that changed in 2005 when, due to the endangered status of the sturgeon, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service banned the import of all beluga products from the Caspian Sea. But wait, for caviar lovers in the United States, all is not lost. Just a couple of years ago, Sturgeon Aqua Farms in Florida started producing beluga caviar from their farmed sturgeon. The company was given an exemption from the law when they agreed not to rely on stock from the Caspian Sea and to help restore wild beluga populations. Japanese pufferfish.
Poison!
What is a Japanese pufferfish? Well, fans of The Simpsons will know it better as fugu, and those same fans will also understand why the fish is pretty much banned in the United States. While it might taste delicious and it is a delicacy in places, it is also highly toxic and filled with poison that can paralyze and kill anyone who consumes it.
Maybe next time, Deshaun.
In order to eat this fish, it must be expertly prepared so as to remove all of the toxins, a task so difficult that chefs need a special license and intense training to master the skill. So even if you wanted to order this dish at a restaurant in America, you would be hard-pressed to find a place to do so, even if doing your best Homer Simpson impression and asking the staff to fugu me. Consuming the fish in the U.S. is illegal, except for a few sellers who are permitted to have a license. Casu Marzu.
Cheese!
While Casu Marzu is readily enjoyed in Sardinia, Italy, this cheese, often called rotten cheese, is banned in America and other places as well. Although when you hear what is in the cheese, you might not be interested in eating it even if it was available to you. The cheese is made from unpasteurized sheep's milk, but here's where it gets gross. The cheese contains the larvae of a particular fly. They are there because they help with the pasteurization process, but it's not like they're removed once they do their job. The cheese is actually served with the maggots inside it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ew.
Ugh, gross, right, guys?
Seems to make sense why it's banned in many places for health reasons. Wouldn't you agree? Ortolan.
I'd go classic French. Ortolan.
The ortolan is a tiny little bird about the size of a thumb. Back in the day, this little delicacy was served by the French to royals and the wealthy.
Not cool.
In 1979, the EU declared the bird to be a protected species, but it wasn't until 1999 that France made it illegal to sell the bird in the country. The United States has also made the selling and importation of the ortolan illegal. But as fans of Billions saw in Season 3, if you have enough money, then it isn't impossible to get your hands and mouth on a little cooked ortolan. But for the rest of us, we will just have to know that it is one bite we will never be having. Ackee.
Whoa. Don't tell me you're thinking about eating the forbidden fruit.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
The Ackee fruit is native to West Africa and is the national fruit of Jamaica. The Ackee is pear-shaped, and as it ripens, it opens itself up to reveal 3 large black seeds, partially surrounded by soft, creamy, or spongy, white to yellow flesh. This flesh has the texture of scrambled eggs and gives off a nutty flavor. This fleshy part, known as the arils, is said to be quite delicious when ripe and cooked properly. The problem comes when the Ackee is unripened. It is at that point that the fruit is said to contain a fairly significant amount of soapberry toxins, which cause an uptick in glucose levels to the point that a person's blood sugar level could drop to dangerous levels.
Pass. Yeah.
That is why it is illegal to import the Ackee fruit into the United States. But you can always go to Jamaica if you want to get a taste. Sassafras oil.
Once big oil, always big oil.
The sassafras tree itself is not illegal and, in fact, is native to eastern North America as well as eastern Asia. Also, the root bark of the plant has a tradition of medicinal use by Native Americans. Up until 1960, the sassafras tree's oil wasn't illegal either, and at one time it was even used in root beer.
Root beer is super water.
But in 1960, the oil was banned by the FDA for 2 reasons. One being that the oil can be used to make psychoactive party drugs. Also, a compound in the oil, saffrol, is a potential carcinogen. The ban is pretty specific though, and extract from the root bark is still okay, as long as it doesn't contain the cancer-causing saffrol. Sea turtles.
I like turtles.
Okay.
There was a time when eating turtle soup was a thing. In fact, as recently as 2007, it was estimated that in California alone, people were consuming 35,000 sea turtles every year.
Why?
But not anymore, or if they are doing it illegally. Given the appetite for the creature in California and elsewhere, sea turtles eventually became endangered. While that is a sad fact, the good news for the turtles is that they have been given legal protection in the United States under the Endangered Species Act. Who knows what will happen if and when the sea turtle population grows out of its endangered designation? Will the United States once again allow the animal's consumption? We don't know, but what we do know is that for now, you would be breaking the law if you ate sea turtles in the country. Horse.
You sell me horse blood?
No.
Would you like to buy horse blood?
No.
There are many countries around the world where people consume horse meat. However, currently, the United States isn't one of them, at least not legally. The banning of horse meat for consumption is probably a more recent occurrence than you might have thought. Not that grocery stores were filling the meat section with horse, but up until the early 2000s, eating it in America was technically legal. However, by the middle of the decade, animal activists started voicing concerns over the sale of horse meat, leading to Congress passing a law defunding the inspectors for horse slaughterhouses. And since it is illegal in the United States to sell any meat that has not been inspected, people in America can no longer legally buy horse meat.
It's for the best.
Many states also have their own laws completely prohibiting the slaughter of horses. Shark fins.
Fish are friends, not food.
Have you ever seen a shark in the ocean swimming around with its fin cut off? No, you haven't, because once their fins are cut off, the shark doesn't usually live much longer, which is why the finning of sharks is illegal in U.S. waters. Because to get the fins for shark fin soup, fishermen will catch a shark, cut the fin off, and then toss it overboard back into the ocean. It's a horrible thing to witness.
I'm very disappointed in you.
However, although finning is banned, only 12 of the 50 states have also gone and banned the actual sale of shark fins, meaning you can still eat them if you can stomach it and if you happen to be in one of the states that allow it. And if you're eating shark fin soup at a restaurant and want enough to share with the table, just tell the waiter that you're going to need a bigger bowl. Redfish.
You like seafood, do you?
In 1980, famed New Orleans chef Paul Prudhomme published his recipe for blackened redfish. This was before the Food Network, social media, and TikTok recipe crazes, but Prudhomme's blackened redfish still became a sensation, so much so that the fish became a huge seller across the country.
It is the best.
6 years later, in 1986, the Commerce Department began closing down redfish fisheries and limiting the sale of them as well, in order to try and repopulate the species. These days, the sale of redfish for profit is banned in all states except for Mississippi. Many states even have rules regulating the catching of the fish for personal use as well. Foie gras.
We'll have the...
We're not saying that foie gras isn't delicious. It's been a delicacy of French cooking forever, and you've likely seen it on the menu at one fancy restaurant or another. However, its yumminess isn't the issue. Instead, the problem is how it is made. You see, to make foie gras, ducks or geese are force-fed grain until their liver swells up.
Shame on you.
This makes life very unpleasant for the birds, but the fatty liver is the delicious foie gras many crave. Because of the awful cruelty involved in the process, the city of Chicago actually banned the stuff for 2 years between 2006 and 2008. More recently, in 2020, the entire state of California banned the dish. The ban on foie gras hasn't reached nationwide levels yet, but California may be the push needed for advocates to get it banned across the board one day. Unpasteurized milk.
What's in right now?
Beef milk.
For the uninitiated, pasteurization is the process by which items, such as milk, are partially sterilized in order to kill off bacteria and make it safe for human consumption. According to the FDA, milk that hasn't been pasteurized is 150 times more likely to cause foodborne illness than dairy products that have gone through the pasteurization process. And because of that, there are 21 states in the union that have made the sale of unpasteurized milk illegal. Among the other 29 states, some of them only allow small amounts to be sold directly from farms.
Just a little bit. I can't stress the littleness of it enough.
And while Canada also has rules against unpasteurized milk, Canadians can legally purchase unpasteurized cheese, while the United States has a ban on that product as well. Chilean Sea Bass.
Fish for sport only, not for meat.
You might be thinking to yourself, wait a minute, the other day I went to a restaurant and ordered the Chilean sea bass. Did I do something illegal?
Yeah, baby.
You see, there are two kinds of Chilean sea bass, certified and uncertified. Because of overfishing, the population of the fish has declined and it has become endangered. And with that, many countries around the world have instituted laws and regulations to help restore the numbers. In the United States, the FDA gives special permission to certain boats who are allowed to fish and catch Chilean sea bass. As for the uncertified stuff caught without regulatory approval, well, those fish are banned throughout the country. And it isn't just the United States. There are more than 20 other countries around the world with similar bans on this endangered fish. Mangosteen.
That's a dangerous fruit. It's like a weapon, that thing.
Some of the foods on this list are banned because they are dangerous, and some are banned because they're rare. The mangosteen falls into neither of these categories. The purple mangosteen is a fruit from Thailand that, until 2007, was banned across the country. There's nothing dangerous about the fruit, but authorities were fearful that there would be some unwanted passengers on the fruit, namely Asian fruit flies, which could have big repercussions if they were to flourish in America.
Great joy.
So what happened in 2007? Well, the United States lifted the ban on the fruit and has since allowed the importation of mangosteens into the country. What about the fruit flies? Well, now when they import the fruit, they also irradiate it, which will rid it of any fruit flies should they or their eggs be hanging around.
Oh, right. Well, that is good to know.
First time here? Then leave us a comment, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell to join our notification squad. Oh, and for another great video, just tap or click.